Hello and good evening to everyone. A warm welcome for taking this time to be with us. And tonight we are going to talk about one of the powers that we all need to imbibe, to practice. There are many virtues. For example, love is a virtue, peace is a virtue, happiness, silence, truth. But some of these virtues play a double role. They're not just virtues, but they're also powers. And cooperation is one of them. Seeing our current crisis, there's a need to bring cooperation into our action, into our thoughts, into our relationship, because you must have already noticed that we cannot survive on our own without the support of others, as well as the support of nature. We need carpenters. We need mechanics. We need electricians. We need farmers. We need garbage collectors. We need ones who cremate the dead. We need a church. We need a playground. We need a ball field or an arena where sports and entertainment is available. We need all of that for the development of ourselves. It is said that it takes a whole community to raise a child. If you think about it, even though our 5 fingers are not same in size, but yet if one of those fingers become hurt, we're not able to use the hand effectively. It's like if you look at the flat screen TV and yet seeing the size of the screen and look at the size of the remote control, there's no comparison. And yet if that remote control doesn't function well, it impacts on the functioning of the television, the TV, as well as it affects the viewer. One of the greatest achievements in the 1960s was related to someone we can describe as the weatherman. And he discovered that the flapping of the wings of a butterfly in one part of the world can create a tornado in another part of the world. It may seem far-fetched, but the reality is such that something happening in one part of the world can have catastrophic impact on another part of the world. The world today has become like a global village, and everybody is connected by a tiny gadget called cell phone. So small. Each time it seems to be lighter, thinner, even can become smaller, but its capacity, its impact grows hourly. So things evolve. In 1988, I was involved in a project called Global Cooperation for a Better World. It was an offspring of a previous project, which was our first international project that we launched called the Million Minutes of Peace, an international appeal, the Brahma Kumaris, to celebrate 1986, which was dedicated as the International Year for Peace. We took the opportunity to launch our first international project. It was called the Million Minutes of Peace, an International Appeal, in which we invited individuals to donate a minute or minutes of their time to talk about peace, to pray for peace, to meditate for peace, in whatever form they would like to contribute. We invited them from 16 September, 16 October, a month. We were aiming to collect 1 million minutes of peace. We managed to take the project in 127 countries. And during that month, we collected 1,033,000,000 minutes of peace. Our first international project. No money was involved, just inviting people to donate a minute or minutes of their time promoting peace. We earned several international and national Peace Messenger Award as a result of the project. I, at that time, was in Guyana, and it was such a beautiful experience going into schools and inviting the whole school assembly, all the teachers, students, staff, to spend a minute in silence every morning before they start their classes, taking it into churches, taking it into the Aboriginal communities in Guyana. And I saw how people were responding so positively when it comes to peace. As a result of that project, we were encouraged because many people said, having not paid that much attention to the importance of peace and doing that for a full month daily, we have developed a new habit. We have seen the benefit of praying, meditating, or discussing peace, and we don't want to break that habit. So inspired by many millions of people across the world, we launched Global Cooperation for a Better World. In that project, we went a step further. So on one part, the first part is that we invited individuals to create a vision of a better world. How would you like to see a better world? And we asked them to think about a better world in 3 different areas. A better self in that better world, a better relationship in that better world, and a better environment in that better world. Because we understood that a better world means better people, better relationship, and a more healthy environment. And after inviting them to think and create a vision of a better world, the other half of the project, we invited everyone to create an action plan. What would I like to do to bring that better self, better relationship, and better environment in that better world? What would I like to do to make it happen? Because it's not enough only to think or create in my mind's eye what I would want to see happen. But it is my responsibility to cooperate and to bring that vision in a practical form. And if all of us collectively give one finger of cooperation, we can bring about the better world that we all wish to see happen. Remember the saying, 1,000 miles journey begins with one step. So giving a finger of cooperation to make the world a better place. It's not that I am responsible alone or someone else is responsible. But if we all do it collectively, we can bring about the change we want to see. I remember addressing a parent-teachers meeting some years back. And in that meeting, parents were talking about today's children. And when one parent began to talk about what children do today, all other parents got the courage to share their views also. And so when it was my turn to share, I asked the parents, whose children were we describing? And as children, they're not that responsible. They are not having that many choices, and therefore they're not so responsible. As adults, we have all the rights, all the choices, and so we have more responsibility because of the choices that we have. And so I asked the parents, how many of you in this room want the best child? And everybody, of course, want the same thing. They want the best child. So I asked the parents, what is the prerequisite? What's the first step to ensure that the end result is the best child? And it was interesting, the different opinions and different views of the gathering. Some thought, teach them manners. Some thought we should discipline them. So there were many, many interesting views. At some point, with lots of encouragement, I helped them to see that the prerequisite for the best child is the best parents. We teach by examples, not necessarily by force, discipline. And so if we want the best child, we have to be the best example, a role model. Because there's a saying, children often fail to listen to their parents, but they never stop imitating them. So if we want a better world, a better relationship, we've got to start with a better self. I'm sure you will agree with that. So that finger of cooperation that we all have to give to lift the mountains of challenges, the mountains of problems, the mountains of conflict, misunderstanding, discrimination. We need to start by checking and changing our own self. That's all we can contribute. We can't change others. We can't change the world, but we can give a finger of cooperation to bring the change we want to see. So if you look in the world today, nature operates in a cycle, in a cyclic manner. We have summer, followed by autumn, followed by winter, followed by spring. We have seasons. We see the moon. Sometimes it's just a crescent. Then it is full moon. It takes a period of time to evolve, to go around in a cycle. And so there's a time for planting seeds. And as a farmer, they have to develop the insight, the know-how, when to put those seeds down. And there's a time for reaping the crops. If they leave it too long, it's not going to be beneficial to all. So they have to sow it, the seeds at the right time, and reap the fruit at the right time. So nature moves in a cycle, and we all move in a cycle. Once a man, twice a child, from a baby, adolescent, young adult, adult, elderly, then they become like children all over. So we move in a cycle. And so we need to be very observant and observe what is the time in the cycle called life. What is the signal from time? And what do we need to do now? What seeds we need to plant now so that our future we can reap the fruits we want to reap. So when we want to harvest a successful crop, we have to be clever to know what quality of seeds and what is the right time to plant those seeds. So are we aware of what is a time in the world cycle and what that time is indicating for us? Is it possible that we will sleep through that time and not realize the importance and what we have to do at this time? So think about it. Cooperation contributes to a greater achievement, which is not possible by any single individual. We need the collection of great minds and simple minds and pure minds and intellectual minds to create a balanced world, a balanced society. And when we do an act of cooperation for someone, what effect it's having on I, the giver? How do I feel when I cooperate? When challenges come, whether within families, within couples, within a local community, or whether internationally, We need to acknowledge at that time our higher purpose for being together. We need to help each other. We need to go beyond petty differences, knowing that no man is an island. We need everyone's cooperation. Cooperation is a natural nature of human beings and all forms of life. Everything in nature contributes to the survival of others. Have you noticed the tree? What the tree takes in, absorb, is not useful for us. So the tree serves us by taking in carbon dioxide and give us in return oxygen. We're the ones who are burning carbon dioxide, and yet the tree absorbs that and give us in return pure oxygen. The tree provide shades for everyone, regardless. And when the tree bears its fruit, it drops it off. When it's ripened, it bends. So more the tree is laden with fruits, more it bends. Lower it bends to make all the fruits accessible to anyone, regardless. It does not make choices. Only these, my owners, should pick my fruits and eat my fruits. It has no sense of discrimination. It serves unconditionally, without expectation, giving without charging a fee, adapting to the wind, adapting to the harsh nature. Whether it's a storm, it bends, it bows, it adapts without complaining. To the will, it adapts to the will of the season. When it's winter, it's ready to shed all its leaf. And when it's spring, it's ready to emerge, to produce fresh leaves. So it's willing to bend and bow to the season. And there's an interesting concept. You know, as a Guyanese, I love mangoes. And sometimes when mangoes are not in season, even more so, I want to have mangoes. But there is a concept that seasonal fruits and vegetables are the best for our body. So just like the tree adapts to the season, we also have to adapt. The sun, when it's time to set, it bows down and allow the moon to rise. And the moon and the stars are ready to bow out to allow the sun to rise. Such harmony, such union, such cooperation. What about humans who have a developed conscious mind and intellect? Unlike nature, we have allowed I and mine, you and yours to influence us. Our ego, our lack of self-respect has given way to wanting respect, approval in return for what we give. Because of our lack of respect, we look outside for fulfillment, for value, for respect, for worth. And so our wants increases. So we shift from cooperating, from serving, to taking, to wanting, to a desire to be served rather than to serve, to receive rather than to give. And because of our lack or emptiness within, we believe there's scarcity. And because of that scarcity, We want to grab more, not just take our share, but more. So abundance mentality is replaced by scarcity mentality. Humility, which is our natural nature, is replaced by ego. Our giving, which originally was unconditional, our giving becomes conditional, calculative. We seek happiness rather than give happiness. We think about the individual. We think about the I, me, mine, rather than the collective, the whole. Can you imagine what will happen if all of nature thinks selfishly, wanting instead of giving? If all of nature decide to start charging fees, asking for return, if the air and the water and all 5 elements decided to stop serving and start seeking approval, respect, acknowledgement, wanting a return. What will happen if that takes place? Would we be able to survive? Would we be able to breathe properly? We saw recently during the pandemic, which is still going on, how people had money, but they couldn't buy oxygen. How people had lots of things, but they ended up in the IC unit, and they would have wished to do anything than to use a ventilator. And many came out of that experience realizing the importance of air, oxygen, the importance of health. So animals feel pain. They also respond to energy of love and peace and respect that we give them. But they don't suffer in the way we suffer because they don't have ego. They don't think of themselves as separate beings, more special or more worthy or more important than the other. Animals act instinctively. They are warm and loving when cared for, and maybe defensive when abused. They act instinctively. We all seem to be consumed by the fear that is in the atmosphere. So we can understand that our fear today is justifiable. But if we want to move forward, we have to change fear into love, competition into cooperation. We have to adopt a more positive energy, which is our true and eternal nature. That's the natural nature of human beings, to be positive, because our virtue is purity, not impurity. So we are not comfortable in anger, we are not comfortable in ego, we are not comfortable when we are greedy. We hide ourselves away when we are not what we have to be. When we are peaceful, we want to share the peace with the rest of the world. When we are happy, we want to go out there and share our happiness. When we are sad and moody and angry, we want to lock ourselves away. We don't want to face the world. We don't want to meet anyone because we are not ourselves. We are not comfortable. When we're peaceful, we're comfortable. We're relaxed. We can meet everyone. We want to share that experience with others. So peace is our natural nature, not anger. Happiness is our natural nature, not sadness. Positivity is our natural nature. It's better to cooperate than to compete because we are all unique individuals. And collectively, we can create the most amazing tapestry of human beings. the most amazing collage when we bring beautiful minds together, happy minds together, positive minds together. So the time is inviting us to emerge the best of the best within us and use that to cooperate with others, to heal others, and to heal our world. Time is inviting us to let go of our anger and adapt forgiveness. Let go of our animosity and adapt love, care, share. Let's all give that finger of cooperation. Let's put aside differences. Since we are all interconnected, let's cooperate by letting sleeping dog lie. Let the past be the past. Let go, let it be, forgive, and move on. Knowing that one single act, like the butterfly flapping its wing, and if we all as human butterflies begin to flap our wings of enthusiasm, of zeal, of happiness, we will create a tsunami, a tropical storm, but one of spirituality, one of positivity, one kind of wave spread across the atmosphere that can change, inspire, that can be the catalyst for changing the condition that we are witnessing today. Every thread create that uniqueness. So we are all threads which binds us together. And this is why what's happening in one place is no longer isolated. It's going to have sooner or later a rippling effect globally. So what if we pay attention to the thoughts we are sending out into the atmosphere, knowing that those thoughts will leave our mind and inflict negatively on every cell in our body if the thoughts are negative, of course. But if the thoughts are beautiful, positive thoughts, then it will have a healing, healthy effect on every cell in my own body. Healthy mind brings healthy body. And then it will go out into the atmosphere and heal nature and heal everyone else. So let's give that finger of cooperation to bring the change, the quick change that is necessary at this time. So let's tune in with our thoughts and recognize the message time is sending to all of us. If not now, then never. We have this golden opportunity to change things around for the better and to bring our world, our one human family together in harmony, in unity, so we can survive. Not just survive, but we can grow, we can evolve, and we can create heaven right here, right now, on this very earth. Some insights shared this evening can inspire each one of you to give a little finger of cooperation. It's not our responsibility to change others or change the world, but it is a golden chance time is giving us to be chancellor for change. Om Shanti, greetings of peace and good night.